So let us start off with this really weird situation where the Chancellor, who's supposed to be in hiding at the moment discussing what to do with the budget, has given a kind of emergency press conference. The speech by Rachel Reeves has been seen as an indication that she's preparing to break Labour's manifesto promise not to raise taxes on so-called working people in this month's budget. That means anyone with a job. It's rumoured she could increase income tax by 2p, hiking the basic rate for the first time in 50 years. That's the suggestion of the influential Resolution Foundation think tank, which say tax rises are inevitable. Today, the Chancellor refused to confirm or deny whether income tax would go up, but she did speak about a need for long-term solutions.
I will make the choices necessary to deliver strong foundations for our economy. There is a lot of speculation about the choices that I will make. I understand that. These are important choices that will shape the future of our country for years to come.
So everyone's watching thinking, OK, why have you held this press conference? What are you telling us? And we're trying to kind of decode, what, is she softening us up here or what? She also said she would not chase easy answers like her Tory predecessors or Nigel Farage's Reform Party. And she said she's not afraid to ruffle feathers.
People put their faith in me to take our country forward, not to be swayed by political convenience, not to always do what is popular, but to do what is right.
And in perhaps her strongest hint of all, she talked about a need for everyone to chip in.
If we are to build the future of Britain together, we will all have to contribute to that effort. Each of us must do our bit for the security of our country and the brightness of its future.
I mean,
Why
I don't.
Are you miserable about this?
Well, I'm not miserable. I'm just thinking, like, if you have a press conference, you've got to say something.
Well, she has said something quite important.
What she? Oh, tell me what she said.
She said all three things that she said are really. I mean, who would be Chancellor? I mean, in our time.
I'm sorry. Lots of people would.
So she said three very important things because the speculation has been rabid. Rabid.
Why do you think that is?
Because that's what people do. That's what people do. Every time a Chancellor stands up, that's what they do in the weeks before.
Well, let me tell you what.
And I like what she said. I don't, as you know, I don't often support this government.
Look, I'm an independent journalist here.
Okay, let me tell you why she's good.
No, wait a minute. You asked a question. I think you did ask a question a few weeks ago. What you said to me, why are you upset? I'm not upset. I'm just thinking that the whole election happened on the basis that they're not going to raise taxes, right? They said that. And not only that, having done some tax raises on farmers and whatnot, she then went to the CBI, have a look, and said this.
I'm really clear. I'm not coming back with more borrowing or more taxes.
Right. And at that point, if you're saying that speech is all about raising taxes, can you tell me why?
Tell you why what?
Why are they raising them when they promised they wouldn't?
Because we know, all of us know, the country's in a terrible financial situation.
Why did she make that promise then?
So the promises she made earlier, she shouldn't have. I like what she said today, which is clear. Now, whether she lives up to that or not, because of course, the media will kick up a big foam around it. But I think it's important to say we should all do our bit, that, the country needs
Charlie is smiling
taxes.
because I think he probably disagrees with every word you've just said.
Absolutely, but I agree with her.
Okay, maybe let's bring Charlie in.
Well, as someone that used to work for the Tories, you'd expect I have a particular view, but I have been a political commentator for a few years and tried to be fair. The reason why there's a press conference today is because of the drip, drip, drip that's come out from the Treasury over the last few weeks. That is...
Or just rampant speculation, as Yasmin says. I mean, the Telegraph runs a story every day saying your shoes are going to be taxed, your shirts are going to be taxed, every single thing.
Well,
and there's nothing she can do to stop it.
No, but a lot of that is from the Treasury, because what you do because you test the water, and if something really gets a pushback, then of course the Treasury won't go with it. So it is testing a bit of the water. That's that's what always happens in the run-up to budgets. But the reason why I'm a little bit sort of beside myself is because this is what should have happened a year ago. She's had a chance to deliver a budget where she said she wasn't going to come back for any more tax rises. This is a mess of her own making.
But hang on. You're falling into the same trap Yasmin fell into. If you promise not to raise taxes and you run an election campaign on that and you get elected, you cannot raise taxes.
You're quite right. I agree.
That's it.
She shouldn't.
And if
Are you telling me that no government before this one has done exactly the same, made certain promises on their manifesto,
How
which
cynical
they tore
is
up.
that?
They do it all. And Farage is just, you know, from his speech
George
yesterday.
Bush Sr. did it, and look what happened to him. He said, George Bush Sr., 1988,
Well, no,
read
let's
my
talk
lips,
about this country.
no new taxes.
We're talking about this country.
But it matters.
Every
It matters,
every government says things in the manifesto, which they then have to...
All right, I'm naive. I'm naive. I thought an election promise was important.
And I agree, and I think many people will. And the problem that the Labour have got themselves into, particularly this Chancellor, is because they didn't need, during the election campaign, to rule out raising these taxes.
But
they did.
They were going to win anyway.
She didn't, exactly. She didn't need to say, we're not going to tax working people without having their definition. That is why the politics of this is so difficult.
It is. It's
No, I think the politics of it has just been improved by
I think that's fascinating. Let me just look at some of the options, and some of these have been probably in the Telegraph, which has been the paper that's been the most sort of assertive in saying, OK, she's going to raise taxes. Where's she going to go? Inheritance tax is a classic where you could look at this. The key thing is this 7-year rule. If you're super rich, if you give all your stuff away when you're 40 and you live to 70, you're not going to pay inheritance tax. They could look at lifetime gifts, but then they need to start looking at Christmas presents and stuff, you know. You could raise VAT, but they promised not to. Mansion tax was the Ed Miliband policy. That's for people with houses over 2 million. You charge 1% a year on every pound over 2 million. But there'd be massive appeals. People say, well, my house was worth 2 million, but since you brought in the mansion tax, it's now crashed. Income tax is massive. That's where she's going, isn't it? There's then the wealth tax. You find yachts before they sail away. You have to look at jewellery. You have to look at what people have got already. That's hard. Then there's some smaller ones. Gambling taxes, probably. Fuel tax, motorists would go nuts about it. Council tax looks like it's on the cards. Extra bans for more expensive houses. ISAs, maybe, that's a tax break for the middle class. LLPs are these private companies some people use when they could be freelance or employed, but they go into a company. And the other thing is this, and this is where the heaviest detail in the briefing has been, is that what she could do is she could say, I'm going to raise income tax, but I'm going to give you a corresponding drop in NICs, national insurance. So workers pay NIC, so they would not notice a difference. The difference would be noticed by landlords and pensioners, because pensioners don't pay NICs. And that's all of it's dangerous. All of it's a minefield. I love your positivity on it, Yasmin, just saying, look, she's done what she has to do. Maybe it's not too late. Let's see.
Honey, how are we going to have a functioning welfare state, which includes the National Health Service, which we all use, without taxes? This narrative in this country is insane.
No. All we're saying is you've got to have that conversation before the election. Not promise not to raise them.
It doesn't matter. We are where we are. And if she's going to do it fairly, and she is going to tax the people who can most afford it, including me, I'm with her.
They've all left. That's the problem. The other
they're not all left.
Yasmin hasn't
left. They're not all left.
You're not the super rich, to be fair. I don't think, anyway.
The problem also is that the reason why Rachel Reeves said that we're not going to come for more tax rises is because we're going to get growth. Growth was the big thing that they had during the general election campaign.
Went wrong.
We haven't seen it.
And also they found, maybe this is fair, they found there was more of a black hole than they expected. That's what they said when they... This is always the thing. We've opened the drawers and we can't find... Ian in Pembrokeshire. So we've got a statement from Rachel Reeves, which is going to be taken as an indication that she's going to raise income tax. What do you think?
Well, a lot of these parties do the same thing. They have their manifestos, etc., and they don't keep their promises. What I think should happen is after, say, 2 years, if they haven't hit 75% of what they promised, there's an independent committee set up, and that decides whether there should be another election.
I'm trying to think of an example that would be as stark as this, and the only one I can think of is George Bush Sr. in 1988, because he said no, there will be no tax rises. He brought them in, and he completely went down in flames. But you think there should be an immediate election, Ian?
Yeah, well, not immediate one, within 2 years. After 2 years, if they haven't hit 75% of what they should have done, yeah.
OK, thank you very much indeed. After the break, we'll talk more about this. Whether the Chancellor actually has been sensible here. She said, look, these are the numbers. I've got no choices. Maybe they made the wrong promises, but they are, as Yasmin says, we start here. 0207 862 2222 is the number you need. Before the break, we asked, desynchronisis is the technical term for what? Lack of muscles, jet lag, or fear of hypnosis. It's jet lag. You're desynchronized, aren't you, from your local time zone? Welcome back. We're live on Channel 5 with Yasmin and Charlie. Later we'll ask whether stop and search should be ramped up to try to tackle knife crime after this week's terrible stabbing on board a train. But we've already had a lively old time there. You think Rachel Reeves is doing the right thing?
I certainly think what she said today is very important and very good. And if she lives by those three principles, I back her.
She's going to have a very hostile press now.
She's already had hostile press.
But it's going to say you lied. It's going to say, it's going to use the L word. It's going to say you lied to win the election. And she's already been in tears in the Commons once. I don't know why, but there's a lot of pressure on her. Marion in Swansea, hello.
Hello.
What do you think? They've come out with it. They've obviously messed up the election campaign, and they have got to say now we are going to have to raise taxes.
Yes, my point is that Rachel Reeves recently made an alleged mistake in not declaring that she was privately renting her home.
Correct.
I'm a 78-year-old widow who, together with my husband 20 years ago, bought a place for our daughter. Daughter moved away. We rented through the legal channel.
Yeah.
And yet, sadly, he died 4 months ago. I've had a letter this week threatening me with prosecution because I haven't re-registered the property. Now, this really beggars belief because we are asked to trust somebody with all our finances, important finances for the country when she can't organise her own finances.
Okay, that is fair, sort of fair. I mean, the reason has been given that she left it to her husband and he left it to the letting agent and the letting agent messed it up. But that story is now being questioned. And I don't know whether that's fair comment, Yasmin, that, you know, if she can't even organise to rent her own house.
It's completely fair comment. I think for Labour MPs, they have to be like Caesar's wife, you know, and they haven't been. We had the Angela
Remind me about Caesar's wife. What was she up to?
She has to be whiter than white.
Oh, okay.
Right? She has to be purer than pure.
Right. Okay. Marion, thank you for that and condolences on your loss. Jason in East Yorkshire, hello.
Hello.
Is Yasmin right that actually, look, let's clear the air here. We understand what's happened. They made silly promises at the election. It's all gone wrong and they've now got to raise taxes.
No, I don't agree. In fact, if anything, she should be looking to reduce taxes. I mean, if you look at over the years, I mean, it's not just Labour, it's all governments over the years for just waste our money. They don't know how to run a country. If you look at other countries like Dubai, Monaco, how they're run, you know, and how successful they've been.
Well, Monaco is full of rich people, and Dubai, I don't think, probably looks after poor, homeless pensioners.
No, because we don't have any.
Well,
yes, they do. They have a migrant workforce that has no right. They're housed in the most appalling places. I mean, the Dubai. But
they're not running a deficit. That's his point. Is they're not running a massive deficit that's going to be paid off by their children.
I don't want to live in a country like Dubai.
Well, Jason. That's the issue. We have got a lot of elderly people in this country who need the NHS and who need social care and who need the state pension. And as long as you have that, you're going to have very high taxes. Now, what do you cut?
The thing is, though, we shouldn't be in this position if they waste money. I mean, if, for example, Leeds City Council, they want to put in the tram system a few years ago. They had a consultation. That consultation cost £250,000. Where did they get that figure from? Where did they get that sort of money from?
No,
Where did that £250,000 go?
I know what you mean. The slowness, HS2, it's still, you think you cancel it, it's not a problem. I just can't believe how much money went on not building a train line.
Yeah, totally. And that's why people have got to look at waste within the system and cut the waste. So, you know, you can cut in terms of public spending, because public spending was going on HS2. We're not talking about cutting things like schools and hospitals and defence budgets. You can cut welfare, which Labour tried to do to their credit, but couldn't get it through the back benches.
Well, the Tories didn't vote for it. So the Tories didn't vote for the cut, I don't think, did they? They let Labour swing in the wind because they wanted Keir Starmer to lose to his own backbenchers.
Well, I think there was an offer to say that you can change it in a particular way in which Labour didn't want to go down because it was still protecting people that didn't need necessarily.
So we can't cut welfare, we can't cut the state pension.
Well, you can cut welfare. You should be able to. We should be cutting welfare. Well,
he's got a majority of 100, what is it, 160 and he can't cut it?
I think it's a bit more than that.
But yes.
Which is why this is so important, because when you have a rudderless government that can't get through 5 billion savings from their own backbenches, how on earth is the country supposed to accept putting up taxes?
That's how democracy works.
Let's not forget the millions, coming on to billions, that was wasted by the Tory government during the COVID crisis. I don't know if you saw the programme.
Well, I was shocked by
Follow the money, the COVID contracts.
They need to start.
It made me spit my teeth out.
I know. I did see it, and it's appalling. And you know, you were very close to mentioning Baroness Moan.
But she was only the smallest.
Oh, I know. But, you know, the standout case. Andrew. Now, I never know whether when we call in an Andrew, which one it's going to be. Hello, Andrew in London. Probably free to make calls.
Hi, Jeremy.
Yeah. Go on. What would you like to say?
You know what really gets my goat? We have this guy, the pound shop, Donald Trump, cancelling all what he decided to put forward for his budget. We have this woman who's been in for 14 months. We have the press at her heels, snapping every day, this, that, and the other. If we give Labour a chance, after 14 months, let's talk about the good things they've done. Yes, we're all in this together. Raise the taxes if we need to do it. Yes, they've made mistakes. But God, we all know that she's trying her best. Everybody can see that.
Well,
but the far-right press...
Trying your best isn't enough.
Constantly.
I hear that your previous reference was to Farage. We'll talk about him later, by the way, because he did make a statement yesterday where he dropped a lot of his policies. But I don't know whether trying her best is enough, Andrew, in this, because in the end, she's got to make a case to go back to people and take their money off them. And that's really hard.
But what I'm trying to say is this. From day one, since Labour were in, they have gone for her. As I said to you, the caller before stated about the house and that. Nigel Farage's house. Nobody talks about it in Clapton. About his wife buying it, him buying it. This is double standard.
What, Charlie?
Let's have an even playing field.
Let Charlie come in.
I don't take the view that everybody's just gone for Rachel Reeves because of, it's Rachel Reeves. Look, ask her, what did she do when she came in? She took away the winter fuel allowance from pensioners, which she said she wasn't going to do. She raised national insurance contributions at the budget last year. She's had a year. She's delivered a budget already when she said, I'm not going to come back for even more money. But because there hasn't been the growth, because she's choked it off, because the economy has been talked down so much, because of all this blame of the past, and I feel as though my hands are tied. She doesn't inspire the markets. She's now, by a mess of her own making, having to come back to the country again and say, we're going to increase your taxes. That is not what the British public voted for. That's not what people want.
Do you honestly think, after all the damage that, well, she's made mistakes, but do you honestly think, and you can stare there with a straight face and say, that 14 months is enough time to get this country in a place where it needs to be to go forward? Look around you. There are wars, there are so many things going on, and look what Labour has done that is good. Stop focusing on the mistakes.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much. Good defence of Labour. After the break, we're taking more calls on whether Rachel Reeves should break her pre-election promise and just raise taxes. What should she say to us all if she's going to raise income tax, having promised that she wouldn't? 020 7862 2222. We'll see you very shortly. Before the break, we asked in Cockney rhyming slang, what is a syrup? We gave you a cigarette, a raincoat, or a wig, and the answer is a wig. How do you get to that? Syrup of figs, isn't it?
Oh,
He's wearing a syrup. I love that way you take half of it and it makes no sense. Or syrup of fig. It's a cough medicine, I think, isn't it? But Cockney rhyming slang's gone a bit, hasn't it? I'd love to get somebody on who can really properly do it. Later we'll be asking whether all Prince Andrew roads in the UK should be renamed, especially the one that's rather unfortunately called Prince Andrew's Close. Let's take more calls on whether the Chancellor should break Labour's pre-election promise not to raise taxes in the budget. Some experts have suggested that Rachel Reeves faces a black hole of up to £30 billion. And the only way of really doing it, you can't do bits and pieces like the farmers and private schools. You've just got to go for every single income tax payer. Even with a matching cut to national insurance, you could raise £6 billion. Should she pull the trigger? 020 7862 2222. There she is on the last budget day. This isn't budget day today, although she's given us a bit of a preview. William is in Clackmannanshire. Hi, William.
Good morning.
Can you? I'll tell you what. Before you speak, William, we're just going to play one of her clips again, and I'm going to try get you to try and decode it. So let's just have a look at the third thing she said here.
If we are to build the future of Britain together, we will all have to contribute to that effort. Each of us must do our bit for the security of our country and the brightness of its future.
What about that, William? So we're all going to have to do our bit.
Complete nonsense. I mean, this is what the public are absolutely sick and tired of. And they're sick and tired of listening to people like Yasmin talk absolute nonsense. And I think it's high time people like Yasmin stop talking and start listening, because what we're hearing from these politicians is it's lies. They're trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes and tell them we need to raise taxes even more to raise money to save the country. We all need to do it together. Complete hogwash. This country will pay $105 billion just on interest this year. That's nearly the same as education. Just stop paying the interest. You save $105 billion. No need to get $30 to $40 billion from this road charging malarkey. No need to go after the income tax. The taxes are already exorbitant. The money is wasted on unnecessary wars, as even Yasmin said, wasted on the COVID fiasco.
But fundamentally, William, fundamentally, you have to do something about the NHS and the state pension and social care if you want to save large amounts of money. So you have to start taking money from Britain's pensioners, and she hit that electric rail early on and basically blew up, didn't she? So how do you... It's all very well. You're not in politics, my friend. If you were in politics, you wouldn't get elected, would you?
Me? I would absolutely get elected. The people would absolutely support me, Jeremy.
Give me your manifesto then instead of Labour's. Tell me what you would do.
Well, first of all, we'd have a brand new financial system where we'd put the rights of everyone first, not the bankers. And we would have a system that provides money for the provision of services and infrastructure, which provides public money, not private money on debt that does not need to be paid back. And we would have an absolute renaissance in this country. And you talk about the NHS. We are a nation of gluttons. People are unfit. They're being poisoned by the food that we're eating because corporate Britain gets to do what corporate Britain wants.
Wow.
And we would put the people first, not the corporations.
Okay,
first.
He's way to the left of where I thought he was.
So William, why are you so against what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm absolutely with you on all of this.
She's left-wing as well.
You were quite insulting, actually, which you didn't need to be. But I completely agree with
William,
what you said.
you're a socialist as well, William. You're basically a Labour voter in disguise.
Well, listen, Jeremy, this whole left-right wing thing, it's a load of nonsense. And we don't need this left-right thing. We need a whole new bird. And it's not about, this idea that we need to tax people. That's what I'm getting at, Yasmin. I'm sick of hearing it. It's complete. You're on the TV and you're cheerleading the government, taking more and more of our money.
And how are you going to get this brave new... How are you going to get this brave new world?
Yasmin.
How are you going to get it?
Go on, William.
Yasmin, I want Yasmin and everyone watching to go to their ChatGPT. Other AIs are available. Type in what happened in Canada between 1938 and 1974. They had public banking. What does that mean? It means that money was provided for free to the public.
Okay,
no need to pay the bankers. The bankers
people
are
didn't live as long then.
Thank
you, William. Thank you. That's okay. I don't know whether that works.
Well, I will go and look.
Well, you see, the weird thing is you two are on the same side.
I will go and look.
The personal barbs aside, I mean, I think what William said was actually quite sensible. When people do think about the debt interest payments, that is extraordinary.
Yeah, but I thought he was going to go to saying we've all got to stand on our own 2 feet, and he ends up saying the state's got to help us and give us free money, and that ends up being even more expensive.
Well, I think
so. I don't understand how we've got a deficit of between £2 and £3 trillion, and we're adding to it every single day, and the government can't cut anything.
Well, I
so it's
quite
going to
like
raise
that
taxes.
he came up with a fresh idea.
Yeah, well, of course you love it.
I will look at it, although he was really insulting.
He was a bit insulting, but let's forgive. We'll pretend we do anyway. Cheryl in Powys. Hello, Cheryl.
Hello.
What do you think, Cheryl? It's a funny old day, isn't it?
It is a funny old day, especially in Wales.
How are you doing?
What I think they should all go and go on holiday forever. Every one of them.
Such a lovely way of putting it.
What they've done to this country is atrocious. And I can't wait for Nigel Farage to get in to sort it out.
But is he going to be able to? Because yesterday, we're talking about this later, he's sort of cancelled half his policies.
The other ones haven't, have they? We are going down the pan.
It's hard to disagree with that. We've obviously got an economic problem of massive dimensions. COVID killed us, basically, didn't it? We had to double our deficit, and we're never going to pay it back. Cheryl, you think Farage has got the answers, do you?
Pardon?
You think Farage has got the answers?
Well, they haven't, have they?
Okay, thank you. It's so polite. Go on a very long holiday and don't come back.
And then invest in Farage.
There we are. Maybe not so polite.
But the key, I suppose, the headline is that everybody knows that there's a huge problem with the economy. So Rachel Reeves is going down one path by saying we've got huge problems, we've got to raise taxes. Nigel, on the other hand, we'll talk about later on, is saying, OK, I've got to ditch my previous pledges because there's a huge problem in the economy, but I would do it differently. So there's clearly an issue with the economy. There's clearly an issue
we
with
sort of know
finances.
instinctively where Farage is, which is he does not want to raise taxes, particularly on the wealthiest. Let's talk to Rob in Cumbria. Hi, Rob.
Hello, Jeremy.
We've talked a lot about income tax. She seems to be softening us up for that. Anything else you can think of that she could do? Like, it is the classic tax on yachts or cigars or jewellery or houses or mansions or what?
Well, I would start looking at taxing dividends the same as you do with income tax, because I think there could be quite a bit of money applying national insurance, because a lot of people take dividends as payment. You pay less tax on dividends. So I think there could be a lot of tax raised from there. But I think the Rachel Reeves was ridiculous to say that she wouldn't raise taxes after we'd had 14 years of austerity from the Tories. We had Liz Truss's a budget that people are still literally paying the price for on the mortgages and things like that. So I think we need to pay more tax. Would I be happy to if I knew I was going to get a doctor's appointment at a timely manner? You know what I mean? I'm not a fool where I think all this is free, but I would look at the tax system and I would go after the dividends and maybe even the gambling taxes and things like that before just hitting the working tax man and woman. But I think Rachel Reeves and Starmer, they should go, because of course too much dither and delay over the last 16, 18 months. I think Labour need a new leadership, someone who's going to be honest from day one and say, look, we've got to live within our means.
Who would you say, Angela Rayner?
No, definitely not.
Who then? West Streeting?
As much as I don't like West Streeting, I think he's an honest guy. But I would look for Andy Burnham.
OK, thanks, Rob. Thank you. Thanks for all your calls on this. Storm will be carrying on the conversation on her show. She's asking whether Rachel Reeves is fit to be Chancellor. Later, we'll be debating whether all the roads named after the then Prince Andrew should be renamed. After the break, we're asking if you would like to see police ramp up stop and search to tackle knife crime. 0207 862 2222, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.